All right, so the Bruins took on the horrible Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yeah, Blue Jackets, they were 6-9-2 heading into last night's contest. So the Bruins a little better record-wise, but Blue Jackets playing a little better, especially in the first period. Here we are at the midway point. Columbus already up 1-0.
Olivier will bring it up toward the Boston line and goes around. Coyle goes right to the front of the net. A backhander scores. A shorthanded goal for Matthew Olivier, and Columbus makes it 2-0.
Shorthanded goal, demoralizing, debilitating, really, really frustrating.
Charlie Coyle just kind of let him go.
Yeah. But you know what? Maybe Charlie Coyle was feeling bad about that, and feeling bad about the fact that they were down 3-0, allowing a goal with 32 seconds left in the first period to make the lead even more insurmountable. So they're down 3-0. They play most of the second, but Charlie Coyle had an answer for his mistake earlier, John.
Lohrei from the near side of the blue line. Behind the net for Brazo. In front, Coyle scores! Bruins with a much-needed power play goal. Cut it back to a 3-1 game.
All right, so you play a few more minutes there in the second. You start the third period. You're down 3-1. Let's see if you can mount another comeback like you did about a week ago. Oh, wait a second. Bruins are on the power play again. That may not be a good thing.
Up top for Lohrei. Fumbles it out near the blue line. Forced out of the zone by Sillinger, who comes up ice. He's got a man coming down the middle, and they score. Justin Danforth with the Blue Jackets' second shorthanded goal of the night. It's 4-1.
They would add another at the 14-10 mark of the third to get the 5-1 win over the Bruins at TD Garden.
Great camera shot by Nesson. People leaving the game with about 8 minutes to go. People going up the
Monday
steps
night.
and taking off.
Yeah,
This is a non sequitur for Hardy.
Yeah.
You're from Michigan.
yeah.
When you hear, play that clip again.
Oh, the shorty.
Up top for Lohrei. Fumbles it out near the blue line. Forced out of the zone by Sillinger, who comes up ice. He's got a man coming down the middle, and they score. Justin Danforth with the Blue Jackets' second shorthanded goal of the night. It's 4-1.
It doesn't say anything to me. Danforth?
Bill Danforth?
No.
Detroit skater. Professional skater. Move on.
All right.
You don't remember Bill Danforth? You skate? Did you skate? Did you skate when you were growing up?
Did you even lift?
Bill Danforth was punk as F, and he was from Michigan. He was a Detroit skater.
Okay.
Made it big. The only kid out of the area. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
All right.
You go.
I was actually driving around in cars probably when you were getting big into your skate years.
Dude, I was driving around in cars, too. I was holding on to the back of them and going back to the future.
Oh, you were sketching a little bit.
And I was skitching, baby.
Yeah.
Something I've never seen anyone do. Behind a car. I've seen it behind a bus.
It seems
I've never
dangerous.
seen it. Well, I would think that if you fell, you get smashed by the car behind you.
You've often talked about the Bruins' ability to turn things on and not worrying too much about the regular season because it's all about the playoffs. And Jim Montgomery doesn't sound all that worried either.
I think I said it a couple of days ago. I started season 1-7-1 in Dallas one year. We went 17-4-4 after that. There's been a couple of wins where I thought maybe we were turning the page. That hasn't transpired. What you want in the first 20 games, you don't want to be out of the playoff race. We're not out of the playoff race.
All right, so we'll talk to Jim McBride coming up, but Cam Neely said how disjointed training camp was with people coming back and new faces coming in. And Lindholm obviously hasn't been worth the money. It's been a problem. But I'm interested, John, you thought they played well in the first period. They were down 3-0 at the end of the first period. I understand that Columbus's goalie was standing on his head.
They were creating a lot of opportunities. Merzlikins got lucky, too. There were a couple where he would they beat him underneath his shoulder, and he would deflect it with the blocker behind him just wide. That happened twice. And Coyle, who scored the goalie, as you heard, got robbed at the right post. I mean, they had a lot of offensive chances.
Okay.
They were generating power plays. I mean, they now, on the other end of the ice, there were problems. But offensively, in the first period, I thought they played very well, and they were down 3-0 because every mistake they made, they got punished. That Van Riemsdyk goal at the end of the first period, that was blind luck. He was standing out in front, and the puck found him in a crowd. I mean,
I don't know if I've seen him play worse, because that's why I'm so interested in that, because they'd go D to D at the top of their own zone, and the pass would get intercepted for a breakaway.
Yeah, Lowry was by himself at the top on the umbrella for the power play. He just mishandled the puck, and all of a sudden it's a 2-on-1 the other way, and the puck's in the net.
Like, this was, and this is going to sound very simplistic because it is. It's not great analysis, but it seemed, if this makes any sense, like there were times they were bad at hockey. Like they weren't professional hockey players.
Yes.
Because
as we moved further into the game, especially the third period, as we moved further on, I completely agree with you.
If you're talking about the end of the third period,
I was watching beginning of the third. It was bad. They were bad.
But like you're at the top of the umbrella in a power play, and someone passes the puck to the point, and you just miss it. That's like something I do. That's not something you see very often. Or two defenders at the top. And they're Beers was talking about this, and they're passing it back to each other, and someone just skates in between them, takes the puck, and goes for a breakaway. You don't often see that.
That's like the Mighty Ducks things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, because I never played, but that seems like a really aggressive play. Because if you overskate that as the defensive guy and looking to steal the puck, you're completely out of the play, and it's a 5-on-4. I don't recall that happening a whole lot.
No,
I don't watch amateur hockey.
It's funny, the online people, like, this is it. This is the last. This is it. You have to fire Montgomery. You can't bring him back after a performance like that. Well, Ty Anderson and a lot of other Bruins reporters said after the game last night, they got an email from the Bruins that Jim Montgomery will be available to the media after practice. There's no practice today, but after practice on Wednesday. So he's not getting fired, not at least for the next 48 hours.
Well, good. It would suck if he got fired before Pucks and Paddles, even though he won't be there. It would be a little awkward to be with the team.
Yeah, he's still the Bruins head coach this week.
I don't.
But Fred, real quick, what you said about the shorthanded goal and like coughing up the puck there at the point, it was Lowry, I think, who
Lowry at the top of the umbrella.
So they had the second unit out there because they've had some more success, and
it was far better than the first,
right?
Yes.
And when you're trying to like brainstorm some ideas, like, oh, it's our third or fourth line is playing better, let's shuffle some things. This is when some of those reasons why these guys are on the second unit to begin with, or fourth liners, you give them more responsibility, you give them a shot. Things like that are going to happen from time to time. Unfortunately, in that case, it can result in a rush going the other way, and you give up a shorty, which, again, I wasn't being flip earlier when I said it. It's demoralizing. I don't know if that anything more takes the wind out of your sails on a hockey team than getting a shorthanded goal scored.
And there also was Zacha made a great play and a breakaway to break it up. I mean, there was. They were bad. I mean, Zacha had the 22 miles an hour. They said he was going.
Yes, I saw that.
But to break up another breakaway, I mean, there was. I don't think Swayman's great. He's obviously not. He's giving up a lot of goals. He might be playing better than his goals against, but he's giving up a lot of goals.
Yeah, he's not giving. He's getting beat on pucks he shouldn't get beat on, where he hasn't been getting beat on the last couple of years. And Jim Montgomery, you can say this for him: he is doing everything possible to kind of jumpstart his team. He's mixing up lines. The club is giving him other opportunities, like Merkulov on the power play in his second or third game of the season. They brought in this guy from Providence who fights for a living,
and he
fought like 14 seconds into the game and had 7 of the Bruins' 11 penalty minutes last night.
And he also drew a penalty and a high stick. But the thing is that if you fire Montgomery now and it doesn't work, there's no bullets left in the chamber. Like, if you fire Montgomery in November and things stay the same or get worse, it's a lost season.
It's the only bullet they have left.
Yeah, and I wouldn't use it now. I mean, I really wouldn't. I wouldn't use it in November. And you better be damn sure who you're bringing in.
Yes.
Believe me, look around every sport. I won't give examples because they're obvious. Look around every sport. I was all hot to fire coaches, or didn't think it was a big deal, and it turned out to be a ridiculously big deal.
I think, and we've talked about this on and off the air, if they let Montgomery go, it's going to be one of those two assistants that takes over for the rest of the
And I don't
season.
know anything about those guys. In if the team organization feels like they're the best thing going and they're so unbelievable and they can handle it.
One of them was interviewed for the Kraken job before they started. I mean,
No, he didn't get it. That's a failure.
That's true. No argument here. He didn't get the job.
Have either of them been head coaches in the NHL?
Minor leagues, yes. In NHL, no.
I mean, I don't know. I just think that you fired Cassidy too early, and he went out and won a cup the next season. It's very easy, and also you have to interpret these as coaching problems and not personnel problems.
It's probably equally, if not more, personnel.
Oh, I think it's almost entirely personnel. I mean, they're in the good. And is it how much is Montgomery responsible for the play of Swayman, Pasternak, and Marchand? Like, how much is he?
Pasternak and Marchand should be taking care of themselves. Swayman could be a result of the like they said, how he came into camp or didn't come into camp at all. He did make one analogy here I've not yet heard, but Beaton tells me this is weird.
I don't think missing training camp helps anyone. That's why you have training camps. The only guy I seen, Tim Raines with the Expos, as an Expos fan growing up, he missed the first month because I don't know, if you didn't sign by a certain date, and I think he went 3 for 4 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs his first game back against the Mets. So I mean that's that's a different sport. I think it's it's tough to get the rhythm and the expectation.
Brock Raines, baby.
Okay.
But he's a Hall of Famer. Don't worry about him.
But you're right. At personnel-wise, I don't call it personnel, though, when there are guys standing around. And, again, the end of the third, you're not watching who cares that fifth goal. But they've got, as Brickley pointed out last night, a lot of defensemen back there. There's a lot of Bruins jerseys in the right area, but they're just kind of watching. They're really not making aggressive plays on the puck. They're not doing anything to get the puck out of their zone and prevent the other team from scoring. So is that personnel? Is that coaching? Is it some of both? I'm not sure.
Yeah. It just better work because now you're an organization that's just firing coaches all the time, and you better have good results. All right, because the Cassidy thing was embarrassing. And now, by the way, the guys that had a problem with Cassidy aren't even on the team anymore. So I mean.
Listen, I get everybody's calling for Montgomery's head and everything. I don't think that's the right move to do. I mean, it's definitely a personnel issue. We're paying a goalie who is probably causing problems within the clubhouse when he's asking for money that he duly deserves, but he's not playing like he deserves it right now. He's not.
No.
All right. The players themselves need to come together because, as I'm caging the spirit of Herb Brooks, the name on the front is more important than the name on the back.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If you call for Montgomery's head, it's no different than getting rid of Cassidy, getting rid of Julian, and look what they did when they left the Bruins organization, how successful they've been. If we get rid of Montgomery, we're doing the same exact thing.
Yes.
We don't learn from our mistakes. Is it a Sweeney problem? Is it a Neely problem? Who knows? But the team needs to start together and playing as a team. It's unacceptable they're playing.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the old team, the turnover has been everyone. I don't know. I'm a little hesitant to just go willy-nilly firing Montgomery, but because if it doesn't work, you're really screwed. And if you look at the guy making all the guys making all the money, Pasternak's not done anything. Elias Lindholm's not done anything. You're paying Coyle too much money. Zaka gets paid too much money.
Yeah.
Swayman's not doing anything. McAvoy played really bad last night.
It's very, very strange what's happening. The players that should be playing well aren't, and the players that did play well last year have kind of reverted back to their levels of where they were before the Bruins gave them all that cash.
Right.
Zaka really wasn't very good until he got here, and all of a sudden he had that spike in performance. Coyle wasn't exactly a world beater either when the Bruins got him.
Did you hear the reasons that Montgomery was giving for Elias Lindholm not playing well? because he didn't, I guess, when he went to did he go to Calgary or did he go from Calgary to Vancouver?
He was in Calgary,
And then
for
he
a
went
while.
to Vancouver.
And, yeah.
So, like, he was talking about how you have to get used to playing with new teammates. Okay. And then he was saying, and just like switching towns is tough. Like, you need to get adjusted. He's in a new town with a new vibe. And to that, I would say, oh boy, because that's not relatable because most of us have had to move towns and then work and be successful. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
most people have to move, across the country or to another city.
Look, Fred, you just touched on something I have very little patience for. If whether it's the travel thing or the moving thing, and with the Bruins, they've had guys that like, oh, I didn't have a lot of friends here. That was the Dougie Hamilton thing. He didn't have friends. It's like, well, okay, number one, your job as a coach or a manager is to manage the employees and somehow figure out a way to help them like it here. There are some things that you have to do personally, but also you're touching on all the things that normal people have to do all the time, and you still have to perform at work. I have a very low tolerance for that stuff.
And then Lindholm was saying, yeah, and they just had a kid, but it's good because his parents are here to help. And then I'm thinking, how hard is it to move to a new town if you got a wife and kids and your parents? That just sounds like living at home. Like that doesn't sound very difficult to me.
That's more than you and I had when we had our kids. We didn't have parents living nearby to help us out.
I mean, I moved to Atlanta by myself, and then I had to go patch together a career.
Look, Lindholm has been, I think this is his 11th season. The previous 10, he's been over 60 points 3 times. It's not like he is a stud number one. He had one really good season in Calgary, and that was 3 years ago. But last season, I think it was 44 points in a full NHL season.
Yeah, he was bad. He was good in Calgary, and then went to Vancouver, and he disappeared. Vancouver had given up a ton for him.
Well, I mean, in Calgary, he wasn't necessarily very good either that year.
No, but
all
he
I'm
fell
saying
apart. No, that's not what I said. I said he fell apart in Vancouver, and the reason he gave for falling apart in Vancouver was the change of scenery.
That's fine. I guess we're coming back to the point that the Bruins gave him an exorbitant amount of money that he isn't necessarily worth.
If you like that clip, check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. For more Bruins analysis and opinion, hit this playlist.